What's up, everybody? All right, you guys. So today we're going to be talking about a case that puzzled people in Skidmore, Missouri for over 20 years. Now, Branson Perry was born in 1981 in Skidmore, Missouri. After graduating high school, he worked odd jobs as a roofer and at a petting zoo. And y'all, Branson could be described as somebody who kind of stayed to himself. Not long after high school, his parents did divorce, but he decided to stay with his father, Bob. So it's being said that around this time after high school, he did get into drugs. On April 7th of 2001, he went to a neighbor's house by the name of Jason. So y'all, from what Jason is saying, he invited Branson over and he gave Branson some drugs. So he didn't say what drugs it was that he gave Branson, but whatever it was, it made him act erratic. So much to the point where Branson would strip off all of his clothes and dance around. Now, we even learned that Jason and Branson even engaged in adult activities on this day. So that very next day, Branson went to go visit his father, Bob, who was in the hospital. What happened that previous day was weighing heavy on Branson, so he told his father about it. But Branson told his father that he didn't feel like he did something consensual with Jason. He felt like he was taken advantage of. So y'all, after hearing this, Bob is furious. He wants to go over to have a talk with Jason, but he's still in the hospital. So after he got out, he did plan on going over to have a talk with the neighbor to figure out what happened between Branson and Jason. So a few days later, y'all, Branson is preparing for his father Bob to come home from the hospital. So he invites another friend by the name of Jenna over to help him clean up. So Jenna, she comes over to help him clean up, but there are two mechanics there as well. Branson had got these two mechanics to come look at his father's car before he got out of the hospital because he wanted everything to be set up so his dad didn't have to do anything. So Jenna says that in the middle of them cleaning, Branson goes and grabs something out of the cabinet and goes outside. Now, she does not know what he grabbed, but when he came back inside, he did not have whatever it was. So after that, they continue cleaning. She really doesn't think anything of it, but later on that day, something else happens. She sees one of the mechanics come into that same cabinet and he looks as if he's rambling. She asks him what he's looking for and he says nothing before going back outside. So as the day goes on, it is now around 3 p.m. Branson gets some jumper cables out of the house and says he needs to take them out to the shed. So he grabs the jumper cables, he goes out to the shed. But y'all, this is where this story takes a mysterious turn. Because after going out there to that shed, Branson is never seen or heard from again. So we're guessing after Branson went out to grab those jumper cables, at some point in time, Jenna realized he wasn't coming back, so she left. Now remember, she's not knowing anything is going on. At this point in time, Branson is not missing. He just left and never came back. But it wouldn't be till that next day when Branson's grandmother would come over to the home and notice that the home is unlocked and it looked deserted. Now she waited around for Branson, but he never came. She called him a couple times and he never answered. A few days after that, Branson's father, Bob, did get out of the hospital and he also thought it was strange that nobody knew where Branson was. So the family went ahead and filed a missing persons report on April the 17th. So I have to note that Branson left behind his wallet, his keys, and a paycheck that he had just cashed. So the shed that he took the jumper cables to, it is on the property. Police went out to that shed, they checked it for the jumper cables, but they didn't find them. What's odd is 2 weeks later, they went to the same exact shed and mysteriously the jumper cables were out there. Now, y'all, police searched desperately for Branson. They searched the wooded area. They searched everywhere around that town and outside towns. But there was no sign of Branson anywhere. Now, y'all, a couple years after Branson disappeared, this case would take a really strange turn. A 59-year-old man by the name of Jack Wayne Rogers would be arrested and charged with some really shady crimes. So, y'all, this is extremely strange, but Jack Wayne Rogers was arrested on illegally practicing medicine. Now, y'all, he was accused of doing illegal gender reassignment surgeries in a hotel, and they also found CP on his computers. So the way he ties into Branson is he was on this message board, and on this message board, he was detailing some of his crimes. So, y'all, one of these crimes was about a blonde-haired man that was a hitchhiker. He said he picked this man up, he assaulted him, mutilated him before killing him. A lot of people felt like this was Branson. Now, even though Jack Wayne Rogers was sentenced for his other crimes, he was never charged in anything that had to do with Branson. At first, Branson's mother did think that he was the one responsible, but later she did say that she didn't. Y'all, more than 20 years have went by. This man will be around 43 right now, and there are no leads. Now, over the years, there have been tips that led them to dig in certain places, but they still have not found him. His mother and his dad have sadly passed away, but y'all, there are still no answers to the whereabouts of Branson. Now, I'm going to tell you my theories on this case and what I think actually happened. Now, remember, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Nobody is accusing anyone of anything. But my first theory would be about the neighbor, Jason. Now, seeing as that Branson felt like he was taken advantage of, did Jason do something to him thinking that Branson was going to report him to the police? Now, y'all, I think it's extremely strange that something happened between him and Jason right before he went missing. Not to mention, Jason would be in that vicinity. He is his next door neighbor. Did Jason maybe call Branson over after seeing him walk into the shed? Did he do something to Branson trying to get rid of him so he wouldn't tell on him? Now, another thing we can point out is the two mechanics. Was he taking those jumper cables out to the mechanics? And if so, why did the mechanic come back in rambling as if he was looking for something? Not to mention, y'all, when he went missing, those jumper cables disappeared, but magically they reappeared 2 weeks later. Now, who would have had a use for those jumper cables besides the mechanics? Now, my last theory would be that Jack Wayne Rogers probably did encounter him somewhere and something happened. Now, we know that Branson had an issue with drug abuse. Could that have played a part in his disappearance as well? But why hasn't Branson never been found? Now, another thing we have to think about is the only version of events we have is from their friend Jenna. Could Jenna be telling the whole truth, or could she know more? Now, you guys, as always, I'm very curious as to you guys' thoughts on this case. Now, y'all, comment below and let me know your theories. What do you think happened to Branson?